All right, now, is this dude older than me? I don't think so. I reckon he might be a year or two younger than me. But yeah, I'm probably going to relate to this pretty hard. He's way more of a weeb than me. Like, look at the background, all the shit he's got. I don't have anywhere near this much stuff. Yeah, there is definitely a different lens that older anime fans look through and perceive it all, because our initial introduction to it, you kind of had to keep it hidden. You couldn't tell people all about it. You had to consume your anime and hope no one was watching. And you couldn't tell people at school about it because, you know, you're watching these weird Japanese cartoons that no one else watches with subtitles, and they're like, well, why the fuck aren't you watching Home and Away or Neighbours or whatever? If you want a really good bit on this, yeah, Alexi Noriara, he was on Trash Taste. They were talking to him about it. He was a closet weeb up until barely recently. He was going to Atashikar events, and that kind of outed him. He was like testing the waters, dropping a little bit of knowledge here and there about the cars. And people are like, how the hell do you know so much about all these series? And it turns out he's a giant weeb. And yeah, he covered his experiences when he was younger and how it was and like what you had to do to just get your hands on, even just, you know, it's pre-broadband internet. Like, how do you get your hands on this stuff? You've got to use VHSs and stuff. So his account, he's got like, maybe like 5 or 6 years on me. Things are a little bit more accessible for me due to broadband and file sharing. Then you had like the people who just consumed it through YouTube, where it was like split up with Spanish subtitles across 10 videos, and then it hit mainstream. Then it just got easy. So it's each successive generation sort of paved the way for the next, made it a little bit easier, a little bit more socially acceptable.
Okay, can I be honest? Being an old anime fan is weird. No, I'm in my 30s, so I'm old. It was late 1900s, and anime was hardly a thing, right? Like, you know, you had Toonami.
Not entirely true. We did have Toonami. There were a few mainstream ones. Like, everybody knew about Dragon Ball Z. Everyone knew about Sailor Moon. They were kind of universally accepted by everyone because they were just on mainstream TV. But the more nuanced stuff, the stuff that never really got officially subbed or dubbed for international release, if you're into that, then you were kind of like a bit weird, a bit fringe, a bit on your own.
I mean, I've talked about this before, and like that brought stuff over here. Like it was everyone, I feel like, at least the people like making content on the internet or people that got into anime and stuff like that, like Toonami was kind of your gateway. Because you know what you definitely were not doing? Going to a Best Buy, or in my case, a Media Play.
Would they even stock it? It was very fringe. You wouldn't be getting a lot of sales volume out of that stuff back then, so there's probably no use in even stocking it. To get your hands on, I was going to say DVDs, they weren't even out, like VHSs. You would have had to go to just like a Japanese importer of some sort, somebody who specializes in it. Up until file sharing came around, like I used Direct Connect and Kazaa, and then after that, torrents. As soon as torrents came out, boom, it exploded. You had the fan subs everywhere. You could get the stuff week by week. That was the best way to do it. But up until that point, it was very difficult to get your hands on anything.
It's so wild to me to see anime and manga and all this stuff become so popular. Like, it is a popular thing to do.
I mean, there's a reason people liked it in the first place. Like, it has genuine appeal. It was just the stigma of it being associated with nerds and geeks and like otaku and that sort of thing that drove people away from it. And then it just slowly became more socially acceptable. Like, has it peaked? I think the adoption rate's going to continue going up until it's just normal, especially with how people consume culture and content now, because you get it all through the internet, whereas we got it through controlled channels, and you could only watch what they were putting on there. There was no feedback either. They just chose, oh, you're going to watch this. If you didn't like it, you just flick the channel, but there was no way for you to request something that you wanted. Whereas now, you find something, you go get it.
There was a lot of times in school and growing up when you liked this stuff, when you said it's time to duel and threw down your Yu-Gi-Oh cards, it was not looked on fondly. People were not like, yeah, all right, dude, yes, woo.
Man, people used to shit on me for liking the Pokemon game that I had on Game Boy, or I would play on an emulator. You know, they're like, oh, do you like the cartoon? I'm like, I like the game. I had to leave early. I couldn't actually watch the cartoon. The cartoon started too late. I'd miss my bus if I tried to watch that.
You were made fun of. Like, in a big bad way. I cannot reiterate, maybe it's just my experience, right? Like, I was made fun of so much that I was just like, anime? No thanks.
Also, before that, you get made fun of for enjoying video games because the popular people would play sports. And if you can't play sports, then you basically aren't going to have friends. and you're going to rely on video games and entertainment that doesn't need friends, therefore you're a loser. That was the thought process, up until sort of 1996, 97, when the PlayStation came out and the 64 came out. That changed things. Then people were getting on board with it. But before that, you had a Super Nintendo or Mega Drive, people would shit on you for liking video games.
Accessibility to really cool stories, whether it be anime or manga.
You can get almost anything these days, whereas we had to rely on scans and fan subs. And if the group doing it just bailed, well, then you're out of luck. Like, you better hope someone else is picking it up, and you better hope you can find who's doing it so you can keep reading it.
And you had to go to PacSun. PacSun had a lot of anime stuff. Hot Topic.
I'm trying to think. When I was growing up, like, what stores had anything anime related? We had, it was like What's New or What's News. There was like this little sort of trinket shop, but it was all like little gizmos, like yo-yos and stuff like that. You probably had maybe some of the video game stores, and like Toys R Us, maybe they had like some plushies, but it'd be all mainstream stuff. There were no retailers that really had like proper real anime merch, videos, manga, none of that.
And to see it, some of the highest grossing films are making like hundreds of millions of dollars in the theater. When, let's be honest, not many people are going to theaters now.
People care more about that than actual normal movies, because it's become so culturally accepted and spread so far. You know, like, you can just get subs of anime and dubs of anime in every language. Whereas in the past, like, you would be lucky to get a dub in English. And when you did, it was shit. They didn't hire good actors. You could tell the actors weren't putting their best into it. And you were just better off with the subs anyway. Think about it now, right? Like, back then, if you're an aspiring actor, like, you would not want to be doing dub work, right? Like, you would feel, oh man, I have to do that. That's like beneath me. I want to be a real actor. Now you got people that want to do it, like that. Oh, that's so cool. I want to be doing that. It's completely changed over time. That's how popular it is now, how desirable it is. You could even say that the voice acting side of it is so crowded that they're like driving down the pay, and it's incredibly difficult to even get into it now.
The anime and manga community, some can be, like, for lack of a better term, they suck. Lack of a better term, it could be.
A lot of people with very strong opinions. But also, the thing about there being more people that are accepting of it, I kind of disagree with that. Because if I find people in my age gap, or around same generation as me, like, it's still quite rare to find anyone who gives a shit about anime. But the younger you go, like, yeah, then it becomes more acceptable. It's like a generational thing where they adopted it and just didn't care. We didn't have anime clubs or anything like that when I was in school or even university. That all came like way later. We were the closet weebs.
Stuff can feel like the same. It can definitely feel like,
here we go. Where's all his degenerate shit? It's got to be hidden in here somewhere. He's got like some pretty nice posters. Bleach, he's just a filthy casual. He's got a lot of manga though. Jesus Christ. And then like all his DVDs and stuff. They're probably just more manga. I think this dude's mostly manga. I don't think he's like collecting so many DVDs and stuff. And that makes sense. I think manga's actually the better way to get through it, but it takes effort to read. So yeah, people just rely on anime. It's just easier.
Being able to stumble across stuff that you've never heard of, or stumble across stuff that someone talks about in a video, and you start reading it and you're like, this is my favorite series that I've ever read. Like, having that so easily.
Also, it's much easier to find good stuff. It's like the cream rises to the top, so you can find good stuff because that's what people are talking about. And it's much easier to just come across like good recommendations. Whereas in the past, like, somebody's like, oh, I really like this show, you should try it out. And then you watch it and it's just dog shit. And you're like, what the hell, man? Why am I wasting my time with this? It was real hit and miss. Sometimes you'd find something good, sometimes you wouldn't. But there weren't any sites ranking, giving reviews, none of that. It was just something's coming out. You got to watch it to figure out if it's any good or not.
It being more mainstream now, I think, a good thing. And, you know, I just had to remind myself of that.
Oh, he's got Naruto. That's pathetic. Why would you pay for that? The most mid of all the shonen animes and mangas. You can do better, buddy.
I remind myself to be thankful for having.
This guy's a filthy casual. Hold up. What else has he got? He's got Ichi the Killer. What's that? Hikari Man? Innocent something. He's got Initial D. All right. He checks out. He's a legend. I'll give him a free pass. He's a solid dude.
Just to have access to stuff that I never thought I would. I think it's a really, really great time.
I like this guy's take. He's very appreciative of how things went. You know, because if it stayed the same, it was still this niche thing that was very hard to get your hands on and you got looked down on for being into it, like that would suck. Like he obviously really enjoys it. Yeah, this is kind of wholesome.
If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you and hopefully you got something out of it. You know what I mean? I'm really appreciative. But yeah, I was just thinking
This
about
dude's cool. I'm gonna share his channel.
and I appreciate you guys that made it to the end of this video. It means the world.
You're welcome, Daniel Peppers.
And I hope if you're having a bad day, it gets better. If you're having a good day, it becomes fantastic. I'll see you next time.
Stuff. This guy's is all about that positive energy. I'm cool with that.